Hello, today I'll be showing how I make stencils for my bullet journal using my Cricut. Here is my Cricut. I have the emerald and gold Cricut Explore Air 2. I'm gonna open it up with the button on the left and power it on and wait for it to boot up and calibrate. This is the Cricut Design Space app. You can download this on a mobile device or computer. Today I'll be using my iPad. Here's the canvas where you can edit your cut files before the machine cuts them. I'm starting off by searching for a tree design and clicking on the Images tab. Then I'm filtering the search for free results only. Once I find one I like, I'm adding it to my canvas and clicking View so it can take me straight there. I already measured the size I wanted the tree to be in my journal, so I'm changing it to that size. Design Space will auto adjust when the shape dimensions are locked, so you can tap on the lock to edit whatever width and height you want. Once that's done, I'm clicking the button in the top right to make my project, and it'll load to this screen. I like to place my image slightly further away from the edge. The Cricut already has a red outline to prevent cutting too close around the edges, but I like to move it further just in case. Once I hit next, it'll search for my Cricut to connect via Bluetooth, and we'll go to the next screen for preparing my mat and materials for my cut file. Next, I'm loading up my cutting mat with cardstock. I'm using the standard grip mat. As you can see, lint and paper can stick to the mat, which can be cleaned with soap and water. But for the sake of this project, I'll clean it afterwards. The cardstock I'm using is a thicker cardstock that I had laying around. This cardstock has a textured pattern on one side and is smooth on the other side. So I'm placing it texture side down, otherwise my Cricut might get confused while cutting. Here I'm turning the dial on my Cricut that allows me to change the material type. I'm changing it to the option between light cardstock and cardstock because of the slight thickness of the cardstock I'm using. I'm pushing the mat against the roller as far as it'll go and making sure the mat is under the guides on the side. Then hitting the button on my Cricut to load the mat in. When I turn the dial to adjust the material type on my Cricut, it will automatically change the material type on the app. The material type being set correctly is important so the machine knows what pressure to use with the blade. You'll see an update on the app when your mat is loaded in properly because it'll continue to step 3. I always double check everything is good with the mat and material setting before pressing go. Now the machine will start cutting and it'll show the progress of how much the cut is complete on the app. Once it's done, I'm going to hit the load button again to unload the mat from the machine, and now the shape should be cut out on the cardstock. This is what the app looks like when the cut is complete. It's going to show the action is complete in the app and will prompt you to unload the mat before loading back to the mat screen for making the same project again. Now I have the mat and the shape cut out of the cardstock, making 2 separate pieces. I'm pulling the main portion away from the mat, which leaves the tree shape. Either piece can be used as a stencil. I just prefer the full cardstock piece, as it's the most similar to a regular stencil. The last thing I'm going to do before using the stencil is use scissors to cut down the extra cardstock around the shape. Here I'm using the stencil to draw the tree on my mood tracker page for my January bullet journal setup. You can check out my full beginning of January setup video on my channel. I use a lot of stamping and stencils in my bullet journal to take the pressure off from it needing to be perfect, especially with my shaky hands. This is another stencil I used for my January bullet journal setup. This was a stencil I made a while back for a theme I'll be doing later this year, but I used the trees and houses for my January setup. You can check out both the full beginning and weekly setups where I also use this deer stencil as well as other bullet journal videos on my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe for weekly videos and like and comment as well. Thanks so much for watching.